Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Hey everybody, welcome to Weekend SportsWrap right here on the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. And you know what? Maybe we kind of need the Kansas City Chiefs to do something offbeat right now. Maybe Pat Mahomes, he makes a social media gaffe or does something completely out of bounds for what he's done in his time in Kansas City, which is to be just about the absolutely perfect face of any franchise. Maybe the NFL or the Chiefs actually might do something with the Tyreek Hill situation, which they're just sort of leaving in limbo and nothing's going on and nothing's being reported. And heck, they really don't have to do anything. They're not playing any games for a long time. They're not doing training camp for a while. But maybe something? Or maybe Andy Reid goes out and endorses Texas barbecue or something like that, creates a social media firestorm of that kind. We kind of need the Chiefs to do something because this weekend in sports, period, and Kansas City sports overall, certainly pretty darn flat, to say the least, and we could use a little hype, a little something, but the Chiefs aren't going to even go to training camp for a couple of months, so they're not going to create any news, we don't think anyway, because right now what we've got is kind of a situation with Royals Groundhog Day, same kind of storyline, same kind of things, time after time after time. And we've got a sporting Kansas City team that's not creating the type of excitement they usually do about this time of year. They're on a 9-game winless streak now after Saturday night's frustrating draw against Vancouver. And so that certainly isn't a big storyline right now, and you think it'll get better because Sporting has so many injuries and so many things that have really been outside of their control that they can't really take care of. So 2 games left in the homestand, and it would be well served for Sporting KC to pick up some 6 points and calm the waters just a bit. Well, calming the waters was something that had to happen for Brooks Koepka yesterday. It looked like it would be the most boring of major championships. Tiger Woods misses the cut, gets beat by 17 shots by Koepka in the first 2. Everybody excited about Tiger Woods. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think the Masters was maybe more of a moment in time than anything else. He wasn't physically capable of playing in the ensuing 4 weeks, which he called a quick turnaround after he missed the cut. So there was disappointment there, and then Brooks Koepka leads by a record 7 after the second round. He leads by a record 7 after the third round. He leads by 6 after more than halfway through the final round. As I speed through my DVR, I thought, well, this is going to be a quick and easy watch as Brooks Koepka goes to what still is probably a somewhat unpopular spot as the top player in golf. But then he melts down for the period of about an hour, and for about 45 minutes, we actually had drama. We had a weekend that maybe had some excitement. That went away as fast as an ice cream cone on a hot summer day as Dustin Johnson, his buddy, let him breathe easy again with a couple of bogeys. We'll talk about that later. So all in all, kind of lackluster. We see an NHL series in a sweep. It looks like the Warriors are going to sweep. It looks like the Warriors are just almost for certain going to win the championship and maybe do it in 4 or 5 games. A lot of things to analyze, but maybe a lot of things to commiserate about coming up.
Before you spend your time and money going after an MBA, ask yourself why. Is it so you can tell people you got your MBA? So you can add a line to your CV? So you can call it a CV instead of a resume? Truth is, any MBA will do that. On the other hand, if your goal is to learn how to successfully manage and grow a business with real-world insights from experienced professionals, well, consider getting your MBA from Park University. Our low student-to-teacher ratio gives you personalized attention, and our face-to-face and online classes offered in 8-week terms are designed with working professionals like you in mind. No wonder the Kansas City Business Journal ranks Park University as the top MBA program in the area. Classes begin June 10th at all 4 KC area locations: Parkville, Downtown, Independence, and Lenexa. Visit park.edu to get started.
Get a refreshing change of your expectations of a sports bar and restaurant at the 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence. Matt Llewellyn's welcoming spot at Clinton Parkway in Cassold covers all the bases, like their own handcrafted beers and all the televisions you need for great sports viewing, but it's the large, varied, and delicious menu that stands apart. From a favorite of mine like the awesome ahi tuna appetizer to great sandwiches, outstanding pizza, and truly fantastic entrees, the 23rd Street Brewery has it all. Matt and his friendly staff make it that much more enjoyable. Food until 10, fun until late. The 23rd Street Brewery is a can't-miss stop when you are in Lawrence. We're here with Joe Spiker, the president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you worked for other companies in the construction industry. What inspired you to start your own company in Easton Roofing?
Well, you know, Danny, when you are working for somebody else, you oftentimes don't get to see the project through from beginning to end, and you don't get the final control over the customer experience. And I wanted to build a place where people can come and get work done on their house and not have to worry about being treated the wrong way and get a good customer service experience start to finish.
The company slogan is "Where Integrity Matters." Why is that so particularly important to you?
Well, for us, what that means is treating each other with respect at work, treating our clients with respect, and making the right choice, especially when no one's looking. So when you're presented all the time as a contractor with choices that have to be made, are you going to make more money on this if you cut a corner? And we just wanted to make a place and a slogan that said to our people and to whoever is our customer, we're not going to do that. We're going to make the right choice regardless of profit.
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Let's start things up with the Kansas City Royals, and it is indeed seemingly a Groundhog Day situation, and it's not really a fun one. The Royals came into this season, and we didn't expect them to contend. They tried to say all the right things about potentially doing so and did some signings that were indicative of a team that really was trying to win at least a few more games than they did last year and not be embarrassing out there. But what we've seen is a storyline that really hasn't changed weekend after weekend, week after week, and that is the Royals lose a lot of games. They toss in the occasional win. We have maybe an encouraging storyline here or there. We have enough things that are going along at the top of the lineup with a couple of the young players like Mondesi and Dozier that are indeed encouraging signs for the future. We get the call-up of Nicky Lopez this time around, which creates some excitement and stories about his contact rate and everything else. But then he goes out and late-night Royals baseball, which is always kind of fun on a weekend after everything else has settled down in your life, and he gets basically shut down in those 2 late-night games and even strikes out once. And then the disappointment comes from the fact that in the first 2 games of the series against the Angels, the first 2 pitchers are the 2 pitchers that the Royals are really depending on to be something, Brad Keller and Jacob Junis, and neither one was terrible, but neither one was particularly good either. Junis, the better. He got his team in a hole, but at least he provided 7 innings. Keller fought himself around an outing that probably could have been a real disaster, seeing as he once again had trouble with walks. Keller leads qualified pitchers in walks in the American League quite easily, and Junis keeps getting hurt by the home run every game, a couple of them in his outing. As I said, that was really the only damage against him, but that's often the case, that he pitches pretty well, except he grooves one, and it's taken out of the park. And in baseball these days, you really can't make mistakes because solid contact often means a home run just about every time. As I said, to their credit, they threw up some innings for their team, but they are looking more and more through the first third of the season and their first third of the season like maybe back-of-the-rotation fillers rather than the potential top-of-the-rotation pitchers that we thought they were. Keller, in his first season plus a couple starts at the outset of this season, looked like he might be the real deal, and he certainly at times does, but he's having real trouble with his command so far this season, and you can't walk the kind of amount of base runners that he has so far and be successful in baseball. So all these storylines continue to be somewhat the same, and I'd like to make up something new for you. You know, Kevin Gutierrez comes up, he shows some flashes, but then he's farmed out. They still keep Terrence Gore around for whatever reason. Then we get Nicky Lopez, and he's the type of player that people love. A little guy who overachieves and really looks like he might have the makings of a useful player, fundamentally sound. Contact rate has been incredible in his career so far, but he also has had a very, very low slugging percentage in the minor leagues. It's picked up a little bit, but you don't expect that to be part of his game. Doesn't have to be, but can he keep up the ridiculous contact rate and seeing in the eye that he has shown so far and creating a strikeout-to-walk ratio that is just incredible, and especially in this day and age of Major League Baseball where only 2 players last year walked more than they struck out. But things aren't really changing that much, and the Royals are losing a lot of games, and they are seemingly barreling towards another 100-loss season. And I've said it up to this point this season, and maybe this part of the speech is over, in the fact that you want to be playing competitive games and you want to judge people in a competitive environment, and that ship may well have sailed for the Kansas City Royals, because they don't look like they're going to creep anywhere near 500 on this season, and that does create the spring training type of scenario that we saw before. I think the players are playing under much less duress if they're playing in games that don't really matter. Now, the negative side of it, on the other side, they have to fight through the fact that they are playing in the type of games with a bad ball club. But it also is not tension like, oh, we got to win this game, we got to win a series. The Royals haven't won a series since early April when they swept the Cleveland Indians, the last kind of ray of hope that this season has had. Another development has been Alex Gordon, who now, probably much to his dislike, is the player that has taken over sort of the Eric Hosmer role, where he's the one they go to after the games to talk about the general situation of the team. He's not really comfortable doing media, and he was very happy to just sort of fade into the background before. Well, that's not possible now. He's having a good season. He's the face of the franchise. He's the highest paid player on the team position-wise, and he's having a good year. And now the speculation begins as to whether either you want him to be still around from the Royals standpoint after the contract is over, and the Royals certainly aren't going to pick up a $23 million option on a 35-year-old player, which is a mutual option, so that means the team has to agree to pick it up. That doesn't mean that Gordon can't re-sign with the team. One thing that he has continually said is that he doesn't want to play for anybody else. But he also now is saying he doesn't want to play for a losing team. And if the Royals lose a whole slew of games again this year and the pitching seems like it's far away for them, Gordon really has created somewhat of a scenario for himself, which I don't really believe, that he will either play for the Royals or he will retire. I don't think there's any way he's going to retire, particularly if he has a season anywhere near where it's trending right now. And do the Royals want to bring back a player, even say for a 2-year, $20 million contract, who probably won't be part of what the future of the Royals will be and is maybe standing in the way of other people getting at bats or playing time in the outfield? Very difficult situation, which actually Gordon has created on a positive level because he's playing much better baseball than we anticipated. If he had gone on playing like he had the last 3 years, and there would be no decision whatsoever. The Royals would just cut bait, and Alex Gordon might well retire, or he might be embarrassed by his performance and say that he wants to try to go somewhere else and at least have a little bit of a uptick towards the end of his career. But now it's going to create a dialogue through the rest of the season that will be very, very interesting, and I think Alex Gordon probably wants to play baseball, and the decision may be more in the hands of the Royals. And given the fact that they've been such a loyal bunch, you would think that Dayton Moore would be more inclined, even if he feels like they still, after this season, are 2, 3, 4 years away from really being a contending club, to bring Alex Gordon back. That would be the way that I would speculate the Royals would go, but would that be the right thing to do? That's kind of the most interesting scenario around the Kansas City Royals right now. And on Sunday, the Royals did get one of those occasional wins, and it was a nice one. A couple hits for Nicky Lopez. Danny Duffy pitched well. They avoid a sweep. They still haven't won a series in well over a month. They move out of the basement as far as the American League is concerned by a half game over Baltimore. They were the worst team in the American League for a couple of days, so that's nice too. But all the other issues still remain. The road trip continues on. It's the dad's road trip. That's a nice story. We look for little nice stories for the Royals right now amidst what is really kind of painful to watch. You know that there's a building process. You try to pick out things that are important, but in the end, it does indeed seem to have a bit of a spring training feel. Well, we'll talk about Sporting Kansas City and their tough times, as well as a major that almost got a little bit of drama, for a little bit anyway. 3% drama through the entire weekend. Does that count as drama? I don't know. Coming up next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Sumner One is the company to make your office maximize efficiency. Their family of companies make up one of the largest independent dealers of office technology in the Midwest. They are proud to bring the best service and technology to top companies across the region. Sumner One can help your organization run more smoothly than ever. Sumner One printers, copiers, MFPs, managed print services, document management, infrastructure design, IT services, disaster recovery, and business continuity. Welcome to the one place where everything works. For more information, call Carl Little at 913